What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Well, I'm here with a very special guest. Jared, what's up, man?
Hey, dude, how you doing?
All right. Now, this is going to be a follow up to a video we did, like, I want to say a month and a half ago,
Yeah, on my channel, I think.
where we focused on basically, as the title says, Scion is a Kryptonian name. Marvel ended up taking it for the most part, but this was an older Kryptonian name which could be used in like Elseworld stuff like that. And essentially, where I'm going with this is, what if New 52 Superman lived after Doomed and his final story arc, rather than just a complete compromise by editorial and nostalgia worn out? Now, you could still have post crisis Superman, just both intertwined and finding and taking a mentorship apprentice type dynamic. Jared, what do you think?
Yeah, that would have been because here's the thing. Here's my issue with the way that DC handled that particular version of Superman. Because DC has the tools to make everyone happy. You literally, because you had the multiverse, and he was both Supermen were already existing. Granted, one was being more like covert and more like behind the radar, but you had the capability. In other words, the table was set for you to have like the older Superman raising John Kent, and I know Tevy's going to show up in the comments in any minute now, but it's true. But you had you literally had it there. You could have given the classic Superman fans their Superman, and the more modern Superman fans their thing, and you could have had some really great stories of like, because there were certain points when New 52 was not necessarily acting like Superman. So the classic Superman could mentor him. Because when have we ever seen a story in the main continuity with one Superman mentoring another?
That hardly, I'm here. That hardly ever happens. I guess the closest we got was like either in the Silver Age, where we had Clark going to Kandor, or Superboy in the Legion, or even the man who has everything to an extent, because technically that in of itself was a what if scenario. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's set the stage for this. I believe it's Superman Wonder Woman Volume 2. It's like the very end of Volume 2, and you essentially have Kal-El's kryptonite poisoning. He's on his last leg. And then
that was Volume 5, I think, was the death, because Volume 2 was like the Doomsday arc, I believe.
Okay. Where they essentially turned Superman into a makeshift Hulk, but that's another conversation. But then all of a sudden, you could structure this as Wonder Woman like beseeching to the Pantheon, because New 52 Wonder Woman, she's prideful, she's powerful, she never asked for anything, but she really wants Zeus and Aphrodite to save Kal-El. And by the command of Zeus and a reluctant Apollo, he supercharges Kal-El with sunlight.
Which is I remember Apollo supercharges him also in the first arc, and it was one of the greatest Superman moments ever when Clark goes, "You really don't know that much about me, do you?" And I was like, that's when I fell in love with New 52 Superman, because I'm a big fan of the Snyder Cut when Superman goes not impressed. That was the not impressed moment in the comics right there.
Okay, so now you have a supercharged Kal-El. I mean, so I can distinguish Superman, post-crisis Superman and New 52.
Yeah.
So you have Clark and Kal. Now you have a supercharged Kal-El, but he still has residuals from his events of Darkseid War, residuals from when he was part Doomsday,
Kryptonite, and all that.
So this where Scion comes into play, where essentially he has to feed off moonlight, use energy from the moon or moonlight
to
keep himself powered.
That could have been really cool, because again, I get that it would have been confusing to have two Supermen, but if you did stuff like that to make them more distinct, I don't think it would have been as confusing as people think it would.
It would have been better than Superman Red and Blue. Now, don't get it twisted. I am not throwing shade at Grant Morrison JLA, but Superman Red and Blue would
actually.
You thought I was talking about the other one. Oh no.
Here's the thing, Grant Morrison. This is one of the best parts about his JLA run. He took all these different like things that were happening in other DC that were forced upon him and made them work. Like Wonder Woman being dead, Blue Superman. He still made made the best of it of really crappy situations.
Yeah, because editorial has to either approve or lay the groundwork for anything that's established. Now, for my go-to for the worst editorial situation was for DC was Beechin's Batgirl, because this was after Iron Maiden, Ra's al Ghul was permanently killed off, and you need someone to fill that void. Personally, I would have used Talia because she's already Ra's al Ghul's kid, but that's another conversation. Beechin just made the best out of a bad situation.
Cool.
But that tangent aside, yeah, I really think you have post-crisis Superman Clark, but he doesn't want to get too involved in this new reality. You could use Clark like as a reflection, as a callback to the previous reality. Like he talks to Barry, helps him piece together Flashpoint, and then Barry goes through a bit of a depression arc where he's actually remembering what happened before he changed the timeline, what he did.
I think he always remembered though. But another way you could use them, only use like pre-crisis Superman as like essentially Cal would still be the world Superman. He would still be the outward Superman, but in like the worst scenarios, like Darkseid invasion is too much, then they bring in the other Clark. You know, he's the break glass in case of emergency, and the covert, so you can still do like those storylines. But again, also you could have had post-crisis, pre-Flashpoint learn from the New 52 because he's in an entirely different world than his own world too. So you could have had them both learn from each other.
I agree, and I believe the best place would have put him was New 52 JLA. Granted, that comic was a self-contained story, but if I feel like it got a second, if we went with this idea, they would have used pre-Flashpoint Superman in a relaunch of this book in an attempt to sell it. Because nostalgia was at an all-time high. You already have a bone with pre-Flashpoint Superman and Lois. Just put him on that team, and then he could be the bridge between the two. Because JLA was more of a government covert team in a contingency against the main Justice League, and there was still some tension between those teams.
Exactly, and what's kind of interesting, I did a video a while back examining the sales numbers for Superman and Wonder Woman, but in there I talk about how like when you look at Rebirth, actually it was driven purely by nostalgia and not sales. In fact, Rebirth didn't do as well as people think it was, and even Dan DiDio was like he was upset because he's like, you want us to go back to the area that required a reboot now? So what they could have done if they want to do Rebirth and go back and say, hey, we changed too much stuff. Again, this would have made Rebirth, I think, more palatable to a lot of people because I think it turned off a lot of the newer fans because basically it was pretend the New 52 never happened.
You essentially went from one extreme and you went to another. This is what we call a dynamic shift. Now, granted, in media, you can't please everyone, but in a dynamic shift or a paradigm shift in this case, you got to find a balance of the situation to where you're able to adapt. I feel like go ahead, Jared.
No, I'm sorry. But plus, in a medium that struggles as much as comic book does, you cannot afford to piss off an entire portion of the fan base. Granted, again, you're not going to make everyone happy, but you can't afford to anger this large amount of fans.
That's a fair point. So I honestly feel like Superman, Kal-El, but he goes through this near-death experience. He went through Doomsday. He's kind of bitter. He's paranoid about everything around him. I'm not saying pull a legion of superheroes and turn them into pretty much brooding Batman stand-in, but make him more reflective or more cautious of what's around him.
He was like that after all that happened during like his air quote death period, because he went through all this and then he was trying to make sure that he left a good legacy, pun intended. But yeah, you could play with that and you could say okay, he makes a lot of decisions that he wouldn't make because he almost lost his life. Like he marries Wonder Woman, and then you could bring in Donna Troy that way instead of like the really confusing way they did it. At least here, this would have been a more direct, a more like concrete Donna Troy origin story had they not brought her in the Wonder Woman book as like from the ashes of Hippolyta, because that makes no sense ultimately.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like that could work, but the only downside is, okay, first of all, in New 52 Teen Titans, you already had Cassie Sandsmark. God, I'm off today. But but you already had Cassie Sandsmark. So you might piss off the older fans because Cassie would have preceded Donna. But given the story you were trying to tell with Super Wonder, I think that would have worked.
Plus, let me ask you this: how well would a book have sold if you did it as the wedding of Superman and Wonder Woman?
That
And
would have
you
sold
actually
gang.
wait, and you actually followed through with it, unlike with Batcat.
Okay. All right. First of all, that would have sold like gangbuster. That would have put you on in the over 100,000 in
Yes,
sales.
I know, right?
That would have sold like gangbusters, especially in 2011's economy. But to go back to Batcat, again, a lot of that was for 5G, and they kind of needed an epic character death to pretty much send Bat Bruce off the rails. It was either going to be kill off Alfred or fridge Selena. So
Which they're not going to fridge Selena. And
they're
by the
not
way,
going to fridge
again,
Selena.
that's why that's why I've been very direct. I like Tom King's writing because a lot of the things that people critique him for, granted, there are some ways he characterizes people I don't like, but a lot of the criticism he gets is just DC editorial that was forced upon him.
A lot of it,
A
not
lot of it,
always,
not
but
always.
a lot of it.
That's why I'm not as anti-Tom. Granted, he's done some things on social media that I don't like, but in terms of his actual writing, I like a lot of his stuff.
I think we can agree on that because
that's just me personally.
I can agree on that because Tom King might not be able to handle criticism and feedback in a classy way or outright ignore it. But at least
he's the Jay Lee thing.
Oh God, let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
But at least he didn't outright pull a Dan Slaughter, Megan Fitzmartin, where he put his pettiness into his work.
And honestly, that's why I have a little more like faith in the DCU movies because because Tom King knows how to tell a dark-ish story. So, and here's the thing, James Gunn was very clear that he consults with Tom King like a lot. So what that indicates is that it's not all going to be comedy because King knows how to tell a very emotional story that's not always very uppity.
It's not. And as much as I hate this story, okay, what Heroes in Crisis was trying to do was kind of take Wally to a fall from grace scenario and push him to the back seat. Because remember, this was when 5G was coming about. This new shakeup with the Justice Alliance. That's another video I might have come out, by the way. I don't know whether it's going to, but cheap plug there. But essentially, the main reason they did to Wally what they did was literally to push him out of the way and push him back in the corner. I'm not saying give him a full-scale villain arc. If you really wanted to shelve or push Wally to the background, give him his family back. That's all anyone would have wanted. It took you an extra year and a half, and flash forward with Mount Zuganot, or basically DC's version of the Watcher, to actually do the right thing when it was staring you in the face.
And let me ask you this. I said this on my video, talk about how Heroes in Crisis is underrated. I think what happened to Wally in that book would not have been so like hated by the fans had you not had the previous years of DC disrespecting Wally West. In other words, if this was just like, okay, he had a fall from grace moment instead of like this gradual hatred of him throughout, like from New 52 and on with like the annihilating him and stuff. If that hadn't happened, I don't think Heroes in Crisis would be as controversial because 99% of the controversy around that book is the Wally West treatment.
Yes, in a vacuum, Heroes in Crisis is not that bad. I repeat, in a vacuum.
In a vacuum. And that's why I reviewed it, because I'm like, yeah, I don't like what they did to Wally West, but if you just read that singular book, it's solid. I love it.
And I assure you, Dark Crisis, Young Justice is a lot worse.
Oh,
it is a lot worse.
Compared to Megan Fitzmartin, Tom King is Jeff Johns level. I gotta say that. That's just the truth there.
Megan, I respect you as a creator. You have had some success, but you're better off at YA novels. You're just better off.
We just personally don't like your mainstream superhero stuff. And by the way, the other thing I will say about Tom King's books, he always gets the best artists. Clayman's art on his stuff is incredible.
That is true. That is true.
There you go.
But essentially, the New 52 was by and large a mess. But I really think if you put Clark in like a Nick Fury or in a mentorship role, they could balance each other out and learn from each other, because this was during where Lois and Clark Maxi series was going on. Clark was in the background. You had Lois going to the Daily Planet, but Clark was
by the way, that Maxi series that Superman, Lois and Clark, that bombed hard. Did you see the sales for that one?
Yeah, I had to go back and look this up. I believe it was like 65, right at 70,000.
Nope, 20,000.
God damn.
Because what I did is my friend, she put a list together from Comic-Con back when they were able to track that, comparing like Superman, Wonder Woman, Rebirth Trinity, and then that Superman, Lois, and Clark book, and consistently Super Wonder outsold all of those books, even on its lowest. But anyway, you said something very interesting, because with the New 52, when you think about it, it wasn't a failure. Because what was the purpose of the New 52?
To hook a new audience.
To bring in new fans. Did it do that?
Yeah.
Granted, okay, here's the thing. It was managed poorly near the end, but it did its job.
Okay, that's a fair point. I will concede that. That is a fair point. From a corporate standpoint, the initiative did what it wanted to do.
Yeah. Now, granted, there was some stuff I really didn't like in the New 52, i.e., them trying to fit 5 years of Batman and Green Lantern into into 5 years. Well, more than 5 years into 5 years. But overall, it was actually pretty solid.
For Aquaman especially, I think Aquaman benefited from the New 52 more than anyone.
Oh, yes. Oh, and also Rebirth, because because the early Aquaman by Dan Abnett, that was solid, dude.
That was a good run. That was a good run.
Best. That and the Jeff Johns run previously, where I think my favorite Aquaman runs, and then you follow it up with Kelly Sue DeConnick, and everyone dropped the book.
But okay, JLA, Justice League versus JLA. That's the crossover I want to go with this pitch. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's just say, as a consequence of Zeus allowing Kal-El to be saved, Diana owes a pact with the Pantheon.
Yes, that'd be cool.
And Diana owes her due. And what Zeus and technically Zeus is the one claiming this debt. Zeus was just going to let this be a one-off favor, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Hera wants to call this favor, and as Queen of Olympus, she has the leverage to pull that off.
She can, yeah.
And she wants the Amazons to lead a campaign against. Okay, let's just say it's something petty. Let's just say, like,
are you doing my God War idea? Yes.
Okay, so basically, this is I'm not referencing Lazarus Planet in any way. Okay, let's just say there's like some hack.
They stole the idea from me, by the way. I just want to tell you that.
some hack director is basically making a movie about the basically about mythology, and is glorifying Zeus. Hera is pissed off like that, so she wants Hera. So Hera wants the Amazons to lead an expedition and burn California to the ground.
Would anyone really resist that, though?
Come on, anyone would be tempted.
But yeah, that's how I could so see that, though, because the gods are not petty.
The gods are petty. They're petty. The Greek mythology, especially, they are petty. And Diana doesn't want to do it. She completely sees the writing on the wall. This is completely petty. Something's going on there, and it turns out the director of this vision is one of Zeus's lost children.
Another one?
Another one.
Man, that guy...
Because remember, the New 52, you broke the fairy tale illusion that Disney put on, like Hercules, all these other stories. And essentially, this was around the time where Hera would have gone out to kill every one of Zeus's bastard children. Because in the first volume of New 52 Wonder Woman, that did happen.
Yeah, I loved it.
And so this would have been around that time, or at least it would have been a callback to that. Like, I know I tried to be better, but I am sick and tired of all these bastard children glorifying Zeus instead of the scumbag that he is. And not to mention, it's California. I'm doing the world a favor.
Yeah. Or what you could also do is do a storyline where the Justice League, where the gods are jealous of the adoration that the Justice League gets, and then goes to war out of jealousy.
That's a little too close to Lazarus Planet, but I get your point.
Yeah, I'm like, DC kind of did my thing, but yeah, but yes, I would love that. And then like it puts Wonder Woman in a very interesting position, because now she has to choose between being Wonder Woman or being a child of Zeus.
And you get the fallout from that story. Diana doesn't go through with it, mind you. She goes to the Justice League and tries to put a stop to it. So you forget. Zeus isn't really this is Hera's this is Hera's fortune. This is Hera's favor. Zeus could appease her, but it would lead to a nasty falling out if he did that. So Zeus is going to want a boon in exchange. And Clark and Kal-El agrees to it. So not only is he a Kryptonian, he's blessed with the power of the gods on top of that, or at least Zeus.
That would be so cool.
So you basically get a callback to Superman Blue, but with the powers of Zeus.
But good. So you could see a new 52 Superman having his powers, but also shooting lightning. That is dope as hell. Oh, yeah. You can even give him a different suit, too. Not the blue suit. Maybe he can adopt a black version of his armor. Then you get the black Superman suit.
And Clark can go back to Superman Classic. It's perfect.
But there you go. Again, this is what I said at the beginning of the video. The DC has the tools to make everyone happy. They just won't.
And you get the fallout, and that's what JLA versus Justice League comes into play. Because JLA in the New 52 was strictly as a contingency in case Superman and Wonder Woman went rogue or went out of line, something along that line.
Which is weird because it was because they dated. That's your justification for they could turn evil.
And Justice is proof of that. Come on.
No, but I'm like, wait a second. You didn't need a justification for that. My problem with that is that it was triggered by that. What? Wait, these characters have existed for 5 years previous to that relationship starting, and you're just now starting a contingency team?
To be fair, I'm not
exactly.
saying that is a poor justification.
After Justice League Origin, they should have adapted the team, because you have characters that have the powers of a god, and the government's not going to form a contingency team immediately. You're going to wait 5 years?
Well, to be fair, PR does exist in the DCU.
Do you think Amanda Waller cares about PR? Not if
she's overstepped by the government.
All she has to say is that you have people with the powers of gods. Shouldn't we have a response team in case they turn evil?
Oh, Waller would have an argument, but all the government's going to do is have her reach out to Batman, because Batman's great at contingency plans.
Yeah, and you can make it so Batman knew the entire time. This is how you make a new 52 version of the Tower of Babel. He sent her a list of the heroes that could counter each of the Justice League's powers.
So Green Arrow would be able to counter Green Lantern.
No, I don't think Green Lantern was supposed to counter Hal, because that's why Simon Baz was on the JLA.
But yeah, I do remember Green Arrow being on the JLA, at least in the first arc of the New 52.
He was, but I don't think he was one of the characters that was supposed to counter a member of the Justice League.
He was just a government stooge that got tacked on.
Yeah, because remember in Justice League Volume 2, as a matter of fact, he showed up at every one of the Justice League's fights going, I want to join the Justice League, and they kept saying, no, go away, Oliver. And then Steve Trevor shows up. This is the one time he actually had a use. Shows up and goes, hey, we have a team. You want to join our team? He's like, okay.
And Clark knows better. He knows how superheroes versus government don't mix. It's a brawl waiting to happen.
Particularly this version of Superman, who was, and this is very important, was tortured by the U.S. government.
Yeah, we don't talk about red and blue.
No, but not red and blue. In the first arc of New 52 Action, he was kidnapped and tortured by the government.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That's where he first met Lex Luthor.
Oh, right. Sorry. But, okay. Look, I don't know. This is a new world. I'm adapting as well. But please, don't do this. The moment you pick this fight, the moment you retaliate, I know you had to cut a deal with Zeus to stop Hera's reckoning. You did what you had to do in that situation. But the moment you pick a fight with the government, all the good grace of the Justice League, and you're just going to give the hero community a bad name in the public. It's not worth it. We can cut a deal here and now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to take commentary from a government stooge. Dark Knight's reference.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah,
all right.
That would be super cool.
All right, kid. I gave you an out.
Yeah, and you could have a battle between two Supermen. Obviously, they would take it out of the city because everyone would complain they're putting people in danger. A lot of the Man of Steel backlash. I have to bring that up.
Okay, so you pretty much have Moonlight instead of Sunlight Amp Superman with the powers of Zeus versus pre-Flashpoint or / post-Crisis Superman.
I gotta go with the New 52 Superman because he has the power of magic against Superman.
But Kryptonians aren't fully vulnerable or weak to magic. They're just vulnerable to it.
Yes, but he has the vulnerability and the powers of Superman on top of that.
But Clark is more experienced. Now, would
that is true.
Okay, would Kal-El have the raw power and magic advantage? Yes, but Clark is experienced enough to weigh Kal-El down. So pre-Flashpoint or post-Crisis Clark would win if the fight dragged out.
And I would love if he like knocks him down, and the way the fight starts is that Superman goes, by Superman I mean pre-Crisis goes, okay, are you done now?
You got out of your system?
Yeah, and then he's like, yeah, I'm good. Or wait, no, Wonder Woman gets in the middle and is like, okay, stop acting like children, you two.
First of all, and I'm like, now, Diana, in my world, you and I were lifelong friends, but this kid needs to be taken down a peg.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know he's your boyfriend and you can hash it out later, but I'm doing you both, but you and the world a favor. And then he just sucker punches Kal-El. Like, this is complete big brother, little brother banter.
It would be so good. Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine if we got this story? That'd be so awesome.
Now, Kal-El would put up a fight. Kal-El would put up one hell of a fight.
He so would.
But in the end, pre-Flashpoint, post-Crisis Clark, he has the experience. And he's thrown with like the worst of the worst in the multiverse. That's like comparing Earth 2 from the Golden Age to Earth 1 back in Infinite Crisis. That's not a fair matchup. Now, granted, Earth 2 Superman in that story was out of his prime, and he was in the Paradise Dimension for 20 years. But in the end, in a fight between the two, Earth 2 is going to win.
Yeah.
So this would be
I agree with you. Experience matters in that case.
And it all comes to a head like Batman just comes in like, stop. First of all, we're putting
like, this is why I have contingency plans. And then and the Superman's like, you have contingency plans? And then Batman goes, not the point right now, Clark.
Classic Bruce. Look.
And then no. Scion goes, you knew? And he goes, he had it on my world too.
Who?
That would be so good.
Like, okay, Ra's al Ghul did this whole thing where he essentially weaponized our contingencies. It was a whole thing. I'll tell you that story another time.
In fact, that they did this in the Rebirth Justice League arc, the first arc, where Superman's like, that's what we found out. Batman has contingency plans. And then Simon Baz turns, do you have it says Simon Baz turns to Batman goes, do you have those? And then Batman's like, yeah. And like, oh, come on.
Why wouldn't he have contingency plans?
Why wouldn't he? He's Batman.
But
and here's the cool part: in the New 52, Superman knew about it. Yeah. Because Batman trusted Clark enough to say, "I have these contingency plans." And when he showed him Wonder Woman's kid, because he had them all in like these little boxes, he goes, "Okay, she doesn't really have a weakness. You're her weakness. You're the only one that if she goes evil, you're gonna put up a realistic, a positive chance of beating her in combat."
And cheap plug, movie night is Justice League versus Teen Titans, where this confrontation actually happened.
And it works. So there you go.
Relatively. But that's besides the point. I feel like this story and it all comes into a head where, okay, Clark is still pissed off at the government, the Justice League kind of, and then they eventually merge into the JLA because the main league is disbanded, pissed off at Bruce for having contingency plans. And like you said, he gave the government those contingencies so the JLA could be accounted to them. One, it was a precautionary measure. Two, Diana was the one who made a pact with the Pantheon, including one of the most petty and scorned women in human history, just to save Kal-El.
What you're saying right now is all Bruce, and then he goes, and you wonder why I had these contingency plans.
You knew what would happen. You knew what I warned you. If you cut a deal with the...
He's like, Diana, you of all people should know that if you have a pact with the gods, they're going to make you do something destructive.
Especially if it's Hera coining the favor.
Especially if it's Hera. Are you kidding me? She turned your family to stone.
Stone. Just to prove a point.
Yeah, exactly. See, again, DC had the potential to have a fantastic storyline, and they didn't do it.
Hire me, DC.
They were so lazy. And this is my problem also, because you had creatives like Tomasi, and to be clear, I like a lot of Tomasi's work, his Green Lantern Corps and stuff. I'm not anti-Tomasi. I'm just anti his treatment of the fan base because he was very confrontational against fans of Superman and Wonder Woman, which I'm fine. If you don't like the ship, that's fine.
Yeah.
But don't be confrontational towards your customers. That's where I draw the line.
I'm not even the biggest fan of Wonder Bat. I just like to heckle
You're
Jared.
just doing it because I screw. Yeah, which is fine because I'm not really that anti it. I'm just like I just play it up for the camera.
But to make this very quick,
I actually hate it.
But in the context of the DCAU, all Wonder Bat would amount to is a cheap fling at best. It may last for a few weeks, but Bruce would ultimately break it off.
Yeah, exactly. It's my problem is that the Wonder Bat fans treating it like it would be a permanent thing, and I'm like, no, that would not last.
I mean, maybe years down the line once Bruce drops the cowl altogether, because remember in 2020...
Which would be when he dies.
No, in 2020, he does drop the cowl when we get Batman Beyond, because remember he has that heart attack in the field trying to save Vicky Vale's kid.
Yeah, but is Batman Beyond canon to the DC universe as it stands now? Because remember, DC's canon is a mess right now. This is why I say they need a complete reboot.
Yeah, there was Batman Beyond Rebirth, but that kind of deviated as the story progressed.
Yeah, I know, but I'm like, and by the way, that Wonder Woman married the evil Superman. So
well, that was more of a political marriage to prevent World War III, because you had the Justice Lords. Justice Lord's Batman was killed. Lord Batman was killed.
Which, by the way, Wonder Woman would never do that. She would beat the crap out of evil Superman. She could. I'm just like,
there would have been consequences.
She would never do that. I'm just like, what? She would never marry the dude.
Again, it was a political marriage to prevent war, and they completely hated each other.
No, but then still, she would actually fight him before doing that. She wouldn't just say, okay, you know what? I have to do this. No.
Oh, I'm not saying she'd be accepting about it. She definitely put up a fight first, if not out of pure frustration. But
here's my other question. Where's the other members of the Justice League at this?
Technically, she got trapped on Earth 12. She was trying to find a way back, but she fell in love with Lord Batman, Justice Lord Bruce Wayne. They had a relationship.
Alternate universe, Wonder Bat doesn't count. I'm just saying.
Tell that to deceased.
Oh, and by the way,
disagree.
Did that turn out real? Oh, the deceased one is the one that works. And by the way, did that work out for Batman?
Technically, Damian sacrificed.
No. Well, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Lord Batman. Did that work out for Lord Batman? Because as far as I know, he died.
I'm pretty sure he sacrificed himself. I have to go back to the context of that issue.
Yeah, and by the way, as many times as you bring up Injustice as somehow a refutation of Super Wonder, I'm now going to bring this up. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hey, it's a fair criticism. It's a fair criticism.
It's a fair criticism. Well, actually, not Injustice, because that's an alternate Elseworld story where you have an evil Wonder Woman. I'm saying good Wonder Woman and good Superman work.
Okay.
That's now, and by the way, I called you out in my video on Super Wonder, by the way, dude. You specifically.
Hey, I saw the video. The video.
So it's all good, dude. All good, dude.
But okay, what would you do with we go for this fallout. The Justice League gets merged into the JLA as a compromise. Kal-El broods for a while, and then Batman reaches out to him. Have you heard from Diana? No, she's wrapping up some business on Olympus, trying to wrap up Hera's Pact and the fallout from it. She only ended up in this situation because I was keeping secrets about my condition. If I was more accepting about it, if I had talked to Diana like a partner should, she would have been more accepting of my end. Instead of cutting a deal with a demoness like Hera. Cutting a deal with the Pantheon at all is a fool's errand. But, hey, you're not that jackass I picked a fight in the Metropolis when Darkseid attacked. Mm-hmm. You've grown since then.
What he could do is say, hey, Clark, you're only human. No, because here's why. Here's why. Because in Superman Wonder Woman Volume 1, Batman says, the reason why I've always felt more comfortable working with you is because ultimately you are human. You may be an alien from another planet, but you always consider mankind your home team.
Okay.
And you could have done that as like a callback to that line.
Yeah. That could work. So would you say the whole like Zeus or God? Okay, what Scion's Zeus powers, would that be like a temporary gimmick for a few issues, or would you try to make that stick?
I'd say to make it stick. Do what you can to make him different from pre-Flashpoint Clark, and adding new powers to good. Plus, this one also had the solar flare power as well. So
yeah,
which. That was also really cool. I can't believe DC didn't do more with that, because that was honestly a good idea. That they balanced it by saying, yeah, you can expel solar radiation, but he doesn't have his powers for like a day.
Yeah, he'd be completely burned out.
which is cool. And then you could say, okay, he still has the Zeus powers though, because that's not like tied to the sun, solar radiation. So he could still do something.
Yeah. And okay, half Kryptonian Donna Troy. Where would we go with that? Would we go like full on super baby? Would we?
I wouldn't do it the way Frank Miller did, that's for sure. Which I like that book, but I don't like the portrayal of.
Oh, it was toxic as hell.
I'm like,
Miller,
no,
this is completely toxic.
All 3 times she showed up in that universe, I'm like, no, I don't like this.
First appearance, man hating. 2, passive aggressive, arguably.
And then 3, back to man hating.
Well,
she did a circle. That's the thing. She did a circle. But the way I would do it is that you could have her like go through kind of a period where she is trying to live up to the example of her parents. Because think about it. She's the daughter of the 2 most famous superheroes. That's got to have a lot of pressure on someone.
Kylo Ren. Oh, excuse me.
Well, except done well. That's the difference. But and she it's like she joins the Teen Titans. And by the way, I would have the good Teen Titans. And by the way, Teen Titans New 52, not canon to this universe. Let's be clear on that.
God awful. The Harvest arc was god awful.
Not canon. We're just gonna ignore it.
Just bury it. Forget it ever happened.
Teen Titans exists,
Rebirth
facilitated by Nightwing and the Titans, and she goes into that field to learn how to be a superhero, to like go through all this time. And you can have it where she faces a lot of hardships and like to a certain degree bullying because of who her parents are, and you can have a little bit of resentment grow, but then they have like a whole family arc and stuff. And then you could also have it where, now here's the thing, what powers do you think she would get from her parents though?
Okay, Wonder Woman, you have essentially the powers of the Pantheon. You have super strength, super durability, the lasso. Okay, here's how I would do it. This is very ballsy. This is very ballsy. Okay, and this is like the pettiest thing ever, but I think it would work. Granny Goodness hacks into Cyborg and kidnaps Donna Troy, uses her as an experiment.
Turns her into a female Fury.
No, she's an experiment right now. That's more long term.
Okay, what experiment?
Basically, trying to dope her with a bunch of drugs and superpowers, just really trying to break this girl's spirit. Classic Granny Goodness. And then by the time, okay, you're already going to have a pissed off Clark and Diana just raiding Apocalypse.
A pissed off New 52 Clark and Wonder Woman. That's even worse for them. You're talking about Superman that when Apollo made disparaging remarks to Diana, he punched him through a volcano.
And then all of a sudden, Donna breaks out like this 4 or 5-year-old little girl, essentially sets off a supernova or a solar flare right in the heart of the planet, nearly destroying it.
And Darkseid's like, "What the hell just happened here?
You didn't." And then
you didn't knock her out.
No, you didn't knock. Basically, what Granny Goodness would have done, she did not apply anesthetic before putting Donna Troy to that device. If you're going to experiment on a superpowered being, you knock them out first.
Yeah, and then watch Darkseid actually kills Granny Goodness for that. He revives her. He revives her because of that. That's what Darkseid does. But he's like, done. You have failed me for the last time, Captain Kita.
And if you're counting Final Crisis, they have avatars. So technically, Darkseid would have only destroyed like one body.
Yeah, it would have been like, I can destroy your entire existence. Don't fail me again.
Mm-hmm. Just be glad I only took a body this time.
Yeah, there you go. See, yeah, that's been so cool. She like wrecks Apocalypse by accident. That's awesome. I love that.
I'll warn you just this once. If you ever pull a stunt like this again, not only will you have to deal with me and Diana, but I will make a pact with the gods myself and rip the cosmic balance asunder to rip you apart.
Yeah, exactly. Or here's the thing. Superman rescues his daughter and goes Darkseid. I'm going to be very clear here. If you touch my daughter ever again, last time you invaded, we let you escape. This time, we won't. I just want to be very clear on that. And there's a lot more of us now, so I'd like to see you try. And they just say, and then you can have Clark and his daughter bonding because he was kidnapped and tortured by the government, so he understands like the trauma that comes from that. Granted, it's amplified because it's Apocalypse, but still, it's like more or less like he could say, "Here's how I dealt with it."
Well played, Kryptonian.
Yeah.
Anyone else took that gamble?
There you go. I knew you were going in that direction.
Now I have an offer for you. You can continue to be Zeus's lackey, or you can cut a deal with me. I will leave your reality alone and traverse my own pursuits in the multiverse. In exchange, you wield a piece of the Omega Sanction.
And when I call do that,
and when I call you as my herald, you will answer. And you'll leave my reality alone. Darkseid is
yeah, but can you really trust Darkseid though?
Darkseid will honor a deal compared to most evil entities. Darkseid will honor a deal. Now
watch. Superman stays there for like another 3 hours trying to hash out every single loophole. Because remember, in that movie, there was a loophole. So that's why Darkseid came back. But I don't think Superman would make a deal with Darkseid. No, he's like, the last time I made a deal with a god, it didn't turn out that. The last time one of us made a deal with a god, we ended up having to fight an invasion. I'm good.
Your woman took that deal on your behalf on an account of your weakness. I'm giving you a scenario where you never have to deal with the forces of Darkseid again. There are many worlds in this multiverse.
And watch, he goes, you call her my woman again, I'll destroy every one of your bodies. You saw what, wait. You saw what one solar flare can do. How about two?
My power is infinite. And the quintessence, including your lackey Zeus, makes it very intricate to make sure I never regain my true power.
And it was actually kind of funny. If your power is infinite, how could we beat you when you first invaded? We were very inexperienced superheroes, so...
My power fluctuates.
Sure it fluctuates. Sure it fluctuates.
But one measure of luck does not mean you can take on the true power of Darkseid.
By the way, I want to see this exchange so much. It's like in a 9-panel grid, Tom King style, with them going back and forth. That would be hilarious.
And then all of a sudden, like the biggest twist, I'll do it. Diana? It's too good of a deal. At least this way, Darkseid will leave our reality alone. You're condemning other Earths.
I don't think they would do this, though.
No, you got to understand the times. You got to understand this was like at the end of the Azmarello run. This was like right at the end. This would have taken place like right at the end of it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Post-crisis shows up and goes, don't do this. It never works out.
Trust me, I was in a similar situation back on my Earth.
We faced a final crisis. This didn't turn out well.
Darkseid always finds a loophole. He always finds a loophole. And his biggest ambition is something called the anti-life equation. Now, he'll leave a few Earths alone if a deal is
made. Right now, but
eventually he will come back.
Yeah, and he's like, good point. And then, yeah.
And then you get a super wonder punch that knocks Darkseid half across the
planet.
Yes,
please. No. Two Superman and Wonder Woman punch him at the same time, and he just goes... And he goes,
You dare? You dare?
No, wait. Darkseid goes, I thought you held back against guys. Oh, that's his thing. I'm not the one that holds back. Again, can you imagine if we actually got this in the comics or a movie?
Well, that's Batman Apocalypse, basically.
And at one point, New 52 has to say, you know what's kind of funny? Growing up, I felt like I lived in a world made of cardboard. But see, you're always trying to hold back so I didn't hurt anyone. But you see, by your own admission, you're powerful enough to take it. So you know what? Gloves are off, dude. See, there you go. Again, DC, hire us, please. We'll get you 100,000.
Jared's going through some feedback right now.
There you go.
But okay, the story arc ends. Donna's home. I don't think I want to be a hero right now. That's okay, sweetie. Take all the time you need. And then we cut straight to Rebirth. You get Super Sons, and then I guess Donna makes an appearance, one issue. And I'm like,
Yeah.
nope, not doing this. Nope. Now I already got Junior to worry about. If I even remotely try to have contingencies for Donna, they'd rip me apart. Nope, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, yeah. Batman's like, I ain't touching this. Actually, no. Superman asked, "Do you have any contingency plans for our daughter?" He goes, "Yeah, you guys."
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
And it's a play off of like in Justice League. I think it was Doomed when they asked, "Do you really not have a contingency plan for you?" And Batman goes, "Yeah, it's called the Justice League."
I think it was in Tower and Babel as well. This could have just been in the movie version.
I think it wasn't. I see. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I read Tower of Babel. But I'm pretty sure it was. I know it was in the movie.
Yeah, it's in the movie version, especially. But I can't remember if it was in both. I have to go back.
We have to cover that eventually on movie.
Oh, yes, we definitely.
That movie's kick ass, dude.
Yes. Now, it does swap out Ra's al Ghul for Vandal Savage. But other than that, it's a pretty solid
It works
adaptation.
for the purpose of the... And plus, it uses the Legion of Doom as opposed to just Ra's al Ghul. But it still works. I like it.
It still works. But, okay. So, who would be stronger, John or New 52 Donna?
New 52 Donna. Here's why. And I know Tevia's gonna say John, but here's why I say Donna. She has too many human parents giving her powers. He only has one. She has the powers of Superman and Wonder Woman.
But here's the thing. John is purely a hybrid between Kryptonian and human, which means his power fluctuations are more unstable. In terms of raw power, John would be stronger due to his unpredictability and his fluctuating power set. But Donna would have more control.
Because she's trained by two superheroes to have control over powers. And I always say, it doesn't matter power fluctuations or anything like that. If you have more control over your powers, you're going to defeat the opponent.
Whether it's right away or a dragged out fight.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, just imagine if it's a sibling squabble. Like John has a tantrum or something because Damian won't let him on the Titans. And Donna's like, I'll deal with Robin, but you need to calm down before you destroy half the farm.
Oh no, wait. John goes, okay, Donna and I are gonna form our own team. It's gonna be way better than your team.
Damian, John, the only reason I'm not having you on this team is literally because of the brand. You're 12. This is Teen Titans. One more year isn't going to kill you.
And by the way, I could definitely see that being the exact lineage for Damian Wayne.
Like, I already get enough crap from Lois and Diana on a regular basis. I don't need you on a Titans team with them worrying about you every second of every day.
Yeah, exactly. That would work really well. I like that.
At least I come up with a decent pitch. I may have to make Grayson the Den Mother, but hey, it's something.
And that's almost worth it, so I can call Grayson Den Mother.
Why else would I have you on this team? Damon, did you put me on this team just to make me the Den Mother? Why else would I have you on this team?
Yeah, exactly. Again, we need to write for DC Comics. Please hire us. We could do this. It doesn't take that much effort. We could do this. We could we could make you surpass Marvel.
Okay. All right. If you were going to pair someone with New 52 Donna, who would it be?
Pairing as in romantically?
It could be platonic, but shipping is always going to be.
Now,
but shipping.
I am not going to say John because. Okay,
oh God, no.
Because
no.
A, that is too weird, and B, that's too close to Superman and Wonder Woman. Again, I'm not going to do that.
That's same versus fame. 2, that's cosmic incest on a multiversal scale.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm not going to do that. I just wanted to get that out of the way before.
Supercest. I'm sorry, I've been holding that in. I've been holding that in.
You had to, dude. All right. Honestly, on a platonic thing, Damian, that would be hilarious. I got 2 of you to deal with now.
Okay, I want to make this very clear. If you ever come near my daughter, I will snap you like a twig. I don't care how much kryptonite Batman has. Nothing in his little bat belt will save you from me.
That would be awesome. I love that.
I don't need my father for anything. You forget, I'm his bastard. I was self-sufficient long before it was dumped on his doorstep. So bring it on.
I like that. That's cool. I could see her hanging out with Starfire.
Hey, the same bit
as the big sister.
Yeah, but they're more besties than anything. Like, come on.
Well, yeah, that's true. Or Beast Boy.
I do not see them meshing well at all because Garfield's too much of a goofball.
How about this? Connor, as a friend, so just to be clear on this, I'm talking platonic first. I'm making Jay Heat cringe right now. This is awesome.
But okay, wait, was Connor even a thing in the New 52, or did he?
I would make him a thing.
Okay.
And not with the stupid 90s haircut. I'm fine with the leather jacket, but the hair is stupid.
It's a look of its time.
That was just Bendis trying to turn Superman be nostalgic. And by the way, that's the occasion of when you're being too nostalgic and it drags down the sales of your book.
Because, okay, a nice little callback every now and then is fine, but if it's just nostalgia of the book, it's not going to sell well.
That's what I said. The jacket's fine. I'm like, oh, okay, fine, because that does work, but the hair doesn't. I don't care what Nick says to try and justify it. It doesn't work. And by the way, Nick, that's for you right there. I had to. But,
okay, we technically would have two Lois Lanes. We would have pre-Flashpoint Lois Lane and New 52 Lois. What would we do with her?
Superwoman. She still gets the powers from when Clark exploded. It's just in this thing he does. So here's how I would handle the death. He still explodes and everything, but the gods say, you know what? We owe you for all the times you saved reality. You're alive.
Yeah, and Hera would because with the way the Pantheon works, if we're sticking with this original story, the way the Pantheon works, we can restore him and save him from Hades, but you will owe the Olympus a favor in exchange.
Or you could still do sort of the favor, but here's how you could also do it. He dies and goes to Hades. Wonder Woman goes and gets him, but she gets aid by the gods, like they normally do, and then they say you owe us for this.
Yeah.
Because that way you could do a super dope Wonder Woman story. She goes to Hades to get Superman.
Pretty much. Now, I think it was Lana Lane who originally got the residual powers, and she burned them out in like a month.
Yeah.
Or did that book just cancel?
You could have that too.
Yeah, but I think they also tried to make Lois the new Brainiac in that one short story.
That was in Superman 2. That was in Superman 2. Then she got turned into a Brainiac drone, which actually was pretty cool later in the story.
Oh, okay. Did that carry over, or did they just eventually scrap that?
No, that ended. That ended as soon as the Brainiac story ended.
Okay, that was a one and done. Okay.
It was a one and done. It was actually pretty cool. Again, they did stuff with Lois Lane to make her more tolerable, but essentially, I would have her be Superwoman. Again,
Superwoman and Steve Trevor. Perfect rebound.
There you go. They both are dealing. Well, actually, no. He's dealing with the rebound because they never dated. Because Superman and Lois Lane, that Superman and Lois Lane never dated.
Okay.
Hey, there you go. It works. I found a use for Steve Trevor finally.
Now
he still is useless. But still.
Okay. What would we do with Green Arrow? I feel like we could have gotten a Green Arrow Black Canary book.
I'm not. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I would not do what they did with the stupid reboot of Green Arrow where they completely abandoned everything that made Green Arrow awesome. I would essentially, what Rebirth did with Green Arrow, I would do that.
Okay, because I remember New 52 Green Arrow. They kind of trying to make him similar to Arrow on CW. That book was just Synergy the book. That's literally all that was.
Exactly. That was the variant of John Diggle and Felicity. No, I would do what Green Arrow Rebirth did because that brought him back to the Green Arrow that he was. This is different than New 52 because at least the Superman acted more or less like Superman but modernized. This guy did not act like Oliver Queen at all.
This was just a government stooge with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, if there's one person that would not work for the U.S. government, it's Oliver Queen. Yeah, so I'm like, no, this would not work. So that's why I'm like, yeah, and put him with Black Canary. And there you go, done. Because a lot of his defining storylines have been tied to Black Canary. That's why it's different than Lois Lane.
Black Canary and Oliver, they have a more balanced dynamic. Sometimes Oliver's the damsel to Diana, to Dinah, but that's on the rarest of occasion.
You
They're
almost said
more of
Diana.
a
That'd be an interesting, Barry. That'd be hilarious. But yeah,
Dinah,
I see what you're saying.
Dinah. They have a more balanced relationship. They kind of play off each other.
Yeah.
Lois tries. Lois is the support, and she is kind of the rock in some instances. But again, Lois always started out as the damsel.
And arguably she still is.
Depends on the story we're talking about.
But the point is that Black Canary is more tied and more defining for Green Arrow. That's just the way it works with that character. You really can't take them apart. You really
can't. They're like two pieces. They're like yin and yang. They're like two halves of the same whole.
That was the issue with that was another issue I have with New 52 Green Arrow, because guess what? They separated that. It's different than because at least with Superman and Wonder Woman there was precedence pre this for that. This no, they've always been together.
Yeah, didn't they try to do a Black Canary book in DC YOU?
Yeah, they did.
To where she was like a music star or a punk rock artist.
Yeah, and that carried over into the Batgirl Burnside series, which, by the way, that is one of the best Batgirl series I've ever read. It's awesome.
Volume 1, Volume 2 quickly tanked.
Yeah, Volume 1 is dope as hell. And again, you play off of with Black Canary and stuff, but I mean, it makes sense that Black Canary be a pop star, but I mean, it's kind of too much like Dazzler from the X-Men.
Pretty much,
because sound and all that, but still. But the point is, that's the one relationship you can't break up. Okay, that's the one that they are tied to. When you think of Oliver Queen, you think of him also with Dinah Lance. That's just the way. That's another reason why my problem with Arrow, they changed that.
Felicity was essentially Oracle. Okay. I'm just gonna rip the band-aid and say it. The producers wanted to make a Batman show, but were limited due to the Bat embargo.
Which is even more concerning that they paired the Batman character with the Oracle character. They really wanted Bat-Cess in that show. That's why it's crazy. Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm not even dignifying that with a response.
Yeah, I'm right. There you go. If she's the Barbara in this analogy, dude, I'm sorry, it just works. It's okay. It's a stupid idea, but I'm just saying.
It works better in the context of Arrow and Felicity. That works. Because they're not, one's not a direct apprentice of the other. That's a more balanced dynamic.
And one's not a father figure.
Relatively. But whereas what you saw in the DCAU, that was more of an internship, an intern attraction. That was always there. It was completely one-sided. And depending on which version, whether it's Killing Joke or the Return of the Joker flashback, it was a brief fling which both parties ultimately regretted. You could argue it was Bruce rebounding from Wonder Woman, but that's a very forced argument.
But wait, you can't, because this is before Bruce even met Wonder Woman.
In the DCAU.
In the DCAU, this is before that. Because they apparently had the fling in Batman the Animated Series.
Wasn't that a retcon they tried to pull while Dick was in college?
Yeah, but it still happened during that time period. Because remember, Justice League didn't start until even after the Superman series. And that was years after Batman.
Huh. So they had a brief fling back in BTAS. They got back together again after Justice League, and then Return to the Joker flashback.
I guess this is really confusing, but it's really stupid. But this really confusing.
Oh god, now I'm starting to have a migraine.
No, you see why I think certain parts of the DCAU are overrated.
Yeah, like I get it. That's what you're wanting to go for, like how the Bat family broke up and how Bruce is old. You could tell this is something they came up with on the fly.
Here's the thing. Also, Bruce Timm has said, I always felt there was an attraction between Batman and Batgirl, and I'm like,
it would be completely one-sided in an intern attraction on her side,
but there's no way Batman would give in. No.
God, no.
Nope. Sorry, dude. That's where you lost me. It's fine if Batgirl has a crush on Batman because, that would realistically happen. But no. The part I resist is Batman giving in.
He has way too much respect for Jim Gordon. He just wouldn't do that.
Because Jim is his best friend, and he sees Batgirl as a daughter figure. That's the key part here. I'm like, that's why. By the way, certain YouTube channels, I'm not going to name names again, that
Okay.
specialize in this, very much try to defend that. And I'm like, I get the story reason for it, but it's stupid as hell.
I guess it's supposed to be like a tragedy of it all, because that was one of the main factors why Bruce was distracted during the two weeks while Tim was tortured. But the only way that would work is if that fling was just a rebound for Bruce getting over Diana. If you use that argument specifically, that's the only way you could argue why Bruce didn't know Joker was in Arkham Asylum the whole time.
And the whole Batman giving in happens before Justice League. So you can't use that example there.
You really can't. You really can't.
So, because remember, they had their fling apparently during Batman the Animated Series, because doesn't Dick Grayson leave during Batman the Animated Series?
Old wounds. He then goes into the Lost Years, where he goes on his own for about a year and a half.
Yeah, so if you're telling me that he left specifically because of this, it already happened. It's not like it's a rebound for Wonder Woman.
But you got to remember, in the non-canon DCU tie-in comics, it's the one where Barbara has the miscarriage from a mugging. Dick was going to marry Barbara and leave the hero life altogether.
So, yeah, but
if you factor that comic, then yeah, Bruce and Barbara got back together. Dick found out Barbara got pregnant.
But still, pre-Justice League. So I'm like, yeah, this does, because that would have been a little more palatable. Actually, no, it still would not have worked, because Bruce is not the rebound type of person.
No.
He is not the person to engage in rebound sex. No.
Now, when he's trying to pull off Bruce Wayne and philanthropy, he'll pull a one-night stand or two for the sake of publicity.
But he wouldn't do it with Barbara Gordon, that's for sure.
No. There's Catwoman. There were multiple interests in the DCAU.
Poison Ivy would make more of sense than Barbara Gordon.
If he had antidotes and some antitoxins in advance, but
no, I'm saying if she mind controlled him, so there you go.
Yeah,
or Talia exists in this universe.
Yeah, wait, didn't Bruce and Talia, that episode in the desert, which kind of takes place in 1995 in that universe?
Yeah, but still,
so technically, by the near apocalypse of 2009, Damian would be like 14 if he existed in that universe.
Yeah, but I'm saying there are other relationships where they could have done that story and it would have been good too. Even Batwoman in that universe, because remember, she's not his cousin in this universe.
Oh yeah, there was these three women. Weren't all three in relationships? I think no, two were. One was in a relationship, one was engaged, and I think the third one was a daddy's girl trying to expose her mob boss dad for the death of her mother.
But still, okay. So there are two things that make this able to work. She's not his cousin, and she's not gay.
Okay.
So because this is before 52, which was the debut of Kay Kane. So at that case, it wouldn't work. But still, here it works. There are so many other ways you could have done that story. And plus, Dick Grayson leaving because of that just makes him look petty. It's better that he doesn't want to be in Batman's shadow anymore.
Now, to be fair, this was the guy who mentored you, took you in, practically made you his ward, and helped make Gotham a better place. You essentially just got cut by your stepdad. That's enough to piss anybody off.
Yeah, but Batman's not the cuckold type of guy. So
that again, it was just
Bruce Timm being Bruce Timm. That's why I'm convinced all the good parts of the DCAU is more Paul Dini. That's all. To be clear, again, I like the DCAU. It's just certain parts of it really grossed me out.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Superman and Wonder Woman. I know we're kind of like, but that's where we normally do things here. So,
okay, a Teen Titans roster with New 52 New 52 Donna,
or Troya. You can call her Troya.
Yeah, you can call her Troy. But would she be granted the power of the gods? Like, would she be bestowed by the gods? Or would she just have Kryptonian powers?
I think she would have some favor of the gods. I'm not sure yet if she would be bestowed with powers of the gods yet.
Yeah,
because here's the thing. They can't not give her favor because she's Wonder Woman's daughter.
Yes, and the granddaughter of Zeus. So she has just as much favor as Cassie, if not more so.
Cassie would probably have more so because she's the direct daughter of Zeus.
Wait, didn't they retcon her as his granddaughter in Rebirth?
I thought she was his daughter in Rebirth.
Huh, I might have to go back. But yeah, Cassie would have more favor.
The point is, exactly. Cassie would have more favor, but again, Wonder Woman's daughter would have a lot of favor with the gods.
And yeah, and Hera would. Okay, I'm just gonna go on a leap here. Hera would play a grandmother figure as atonement for everything that happened in Justice League versus JLA.
Yeah, she would eventually realize I went too far with this. This is not gonna. I have to make a change, and then she starts being less hostile to people.
Now, to be fair, this is a woman who's been scorned again and again over the course of millennia, if not an eon. So Hera does have her reasons.
Yeah, but I think she would finally recognize it's not Diana's fault or this girl. It's Zeus's fault, but it's not. Why am I taking out on them?
So wait, what kind of powers would Donna have if she was blessed by Hera?
What is Hera even the god of? Well, I'm sure we still have strength and like. Would we give her the ability to fly? Because I feel like no, because Wonder Woman and Superman both fly in this universe.
Yeah.
To kind of give it a little more of a difference, I would give her heat vision because that'd be super cool.
Yeah.
You could also have Kara be more of a big sister role with.
Oh, that's a given. That's
great. I would love that. Plus, if it's Red Lantern Kara, that would be super dope.
I mean, yeah, that did happen.
Actually, at the end of that, at that point in the storyline, it was done because it was in Superman Doom that they actually ended that. So I'm like,
yeah, man. That would have been relatively recent.
But still, that was super cool when they did that.
But I think, okay, there's so much you could do with Troya. There's so much you could do with a New 52.
Exactly,
Troya.
There's so much potential there, and guess what? They didn't do it.
What could have been?
And by the way, Jay, in the private chat, yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm just
not naming names. Not naming
names. Jay told me put in the name of the chat of one of the channels I was referencing, and I just said yes. That's one of them.
Okay, so what? Okay, we know Clark and Scion, Superman and Scion would butt heads, but what about the rest of the super family? Would there be just as much tension there, or would it be just those two specifically?
I would say there would be a measure of jealousy a little bit because there's always one when like the new kid is born and stuff. Yeah. But I think eventually they would get into the role. Hey, we have a little sister to help raise, because I get the feeling that Superman and Wonder Woman would go, we can't always be here. You guys have got to do this. You guys have got to learn to live together and work together, because your mother and I are going to be at war occasionally with Darkseid.
So yeah, I feel like Clark and Lois would just become would either become uncle and aunt figures or outright babysitters.
Oh yeah. And Tevia, I would actually like that storyline of John Kent getting to know his alternate reality, technically alternate reality sister.
And for you shippers out there,
no,
stop it.
No,
stop it.
I know what he's talking about.
It.
No.
Stop it.
No, don't you dare. Don't you dare ruin this.
Don't. I don't want to see a speck of fan art. I don't want to see it.
No, you know what you're going to do, Jay Heat? You just encourage it, because there are people that did John and Damian fan art as kids. He's just getting up and walking away. But yes, do not do that. Do not. That is disgusting. Because there's, for the most part, by multiverse rules, they're still brother and sister. Even if they're not blood related, it's weird as hell.
God, the cringe.
I just love you walked off on I got you to walk off on your own channel. The
cringe.
The cringe is strong with this one. I had to.
But okay. All right, would you see? Okay, now I just want to go back briefly to like that Apocalypse storyline. The power of the Omega Sanction, and Darkseid completely leaves the New 52 alone. The new status quo would not be threatened by Darkseid in any way, at least not directly by him. Would you see that as a tempting deal or just a complete drop? Would you see that as a decent deal?
The whole, like, I will leave the world alone if you become my thing.
No, like I will grant you the power of the Omega Sanction, which will allow you to call upon me as a reluctant ally. But in exchange, you owe me a favor.
I don't think Superman would even consider being anything associated with Darkseid.
But you forget, one of my Granny Goodness's experiments has a little contingency if they run astray, especially after Mr. Miracle. I will give you the antidote, but only if you agree to be my herald.
And then Batman shows up out of nowhere and says, I've activated the Hell Spores. Give us the code to shut down the contingency plan or I blow this planet to Kingdom Come.
You dare!
Oh yes, I dare. I dare. I have contingency plans for all the gods, and even I'm like, do not piss these people off. This will not turn out well. Dude, you're dealing with a Superman that doesn't hold back. Do not. I repeat. By the way, here's the thing, Darkseid. You barely survived our last encounter, and that was when this Superman was holding back. He's not doing that anymore.
And he's blessed by the powers of Zeus.
And he's blessed by the powers of Zeus. Do you really think this is a good idea? If you do, honestly, I
don't see you surviving this. I don't see you surviving this.
I wash my hands of this. He can do whatever he wants as far as I'm concerned because I have my own problems with you, Darkseid. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no redeeming you. So I'm cool with you getting killed. And this guy can do it. And not only do you have a pissed off Superman that's powered by the gods, Wonder Woman as well.
Comparing the old gods compared to the new is insignificant.
But you got beaten back on our first encounter by them when they're not super powered by the gods.
You know Darkseid likes to talk big.
I know, but eventually he'll be like, but eventually Batman's like, yeah,
dude,
but
you're not winning this.
No, it's like in Avengers. There's no scenario where you walk out of this on top. And by the way, there's significantly more of us now.
Hold that thought.
Yeah, I'll speak. Because the way it would work is that Batman would say, okay, so here's the thing. The minute that you even think of threatening Earth again, let's be clear, we're all coming for you specifically. We will cut a path through your parademons and then completely and utterly destroy you and any other form you inhabit. We're done dealing with you, Darkseid. As far as I'm concerned, I supposedly have a no-kill rule, which I don't, but I'd be willing to suspend it for you specifically. For you, I will make an exception. Because you have screwed with this reality one too many times. We will destroy you, multiverse be damned. So if I were you, I would just back off, leave it alone.
But you forget, Zeus is a measure of the quintessence. If any version of my avatars are destroyed and the Omega Sanction is out of play, my own contingency arises where I merge with my other selves and ascend to my true form. This is my main body, my body of choice. So if you destroy me, you set off a chain reaction that'll destroy the entire multiverse.
And then Batman pulls out the gun from Final Crisis. He's like, you remember this, don't you?
How the hell were you able to build that?
Oh, I didn't build it. Do you really think you're the only one that can travel the multiverse?
Very well.
I have a silver bullet, dude. And by the way, Red Hood was right. Guns are fun.
Desaad, give the girl the antidote and escort these heathens off my world.
And to be clear, Darkseid, you even show up. A single boom tube opens on Earth, and you're done. We're not playing anymore. I will suspend my no-killing rule for you.
Such big words for a puny mortal.
Ask KG Beast. In my universe, Batman actually killed him.
Very well. You wasted the deal of a lifetime. A pity.
A deal that you probably would not have respected and found some loophole out of it. And by the way, not pretty words for a mortal and a couple of immortals.
Clark is an immortal.
Yeah, he is.
Oh yeah, he's bestowed with the power of Zeus, so he would have some measure of immortality.
Even without it, because his cells are constantly revitalized by the Earth's yellow sun. That's why they did the storyline where he shows up with Wonder Woman and lives for thousands of years in Valhalla.
Lord Darkseid, shall I implement your little passion project? Although a red sun would make Kal-El invulnerable, it is a preemptive strike that will go against my deal with the Quintessence. I am not so petty as to upset the cosmic balance over a minor defeat. Let them have their little jest. I have other avenues to secure victory.
We will use the old way. So then that's where the comic ends. That works really well. I like that.
We will use the old ways.
Yep, there you go.
Anti-life will belong to Darkseid.
Yeah, there you go. That works perfectly. Again, DC, hire us.
Well, I think that's a good place to leave it. Jared, where can we find you?
You can find me at Comics League JT, Comics League on YouTube, Comics League 2020 on Instagram, where I talk about any manner of comic book topics, like this week, where I talk about why Wonder Bat doesn't work. I had to, because I spent so much time talking about why Super Wonder works, and I'm going to do this because refuting Wonder Bat gets a lot of attention. And I currently have a Under Two Capes episode out talking about how the comic book fandom got so aggressive and divided.
Okay, sounds like a plan. As for myself, you can find me at jheat75 on Twitter, right here at jheatblaze. And stay tuned for a few hours while I'm on this guy's channel, where we talk about Justice League versus Teen Titans.
Yeah, awesome. And by the way, one of the best DC movies. One of the best DC animated movies and one of my favorites.
Save it for the show, Jared. Save it for the show.
Yeah, I know.
Like, comment, subscribe, and flame off.
Whoa!